This is a quick, easy way for you to know if you're actually suffering from a state of victim mentality. I think there's a lot of confusion in the world today as to what victim mentality actually is. It seems like it's hard to accept when we feel like there's things happening in the world
And
that
that's
we
just
need
it.
to change.
That's the question.
That's what I did for myself. That's what's working for me, and I hope that helps for you. You simply ask this question to yourself: is this something that I have power and control over? Because if it's something that you can't change, then you need to let it go. And I know that this applies to everything, and some things are going to be a little bit harder to look at and analyze. For example, me identifying myself as being an alcoholic and the fact that I was a self-medicator. I chose alcohol to overcome the things that I didn't want to deal with in my head. So because I chose that, I had power to take away the alcohol, take away the self-medication, and truly deal with the thoughts that I didn't want to deal with in the first place. That was me choosing to overcome my victim mentality by way of recognizing that that state of thinking was what was keeping me in a lower vibrational energy state that caused my anxiety and my depression. If this trauma is actually happening to somebody else and not you specifically, how much power and control do you have to release them from this? I know how hard it is to see something that you think is wrong happening to another person, okay? But all you can do is protect that person in their presence. But at the same time, you can't take on the full responsibility if you don't have the power to change the situation. And it sucks that we have to sometimes be dependent upon different authorities and whoever we do give that power to. And if there's still something happening and you have the evidence that something is happening, that's a whole nother thing. But the state of victim mentality that we actually suffer from here is living in that place of wrath or anger, right? That hatred, that envy that we have of another situation that we can't resolve. So the most important thing you can do to recognize your state of victim mentality is to ask yourself this question: do you have the power and control to change it? Because if you don't, then it's probably not something that's actually in accordance with a victim mentality. Because victim mentality is about the things that we can recognize that are manipulating our energy state, our way of thinking, our path of righteousness versus wickedness. That evil in the world exists because we aren't healing ourselves. So I ask you again, if you can't control a situation, can you release it? This is a tough example I want to give, like a friend of mine bringing up, the child abuse thing. There's so many different questions that I would want to lead into and ask first. Like, do we have hard evidence that this is actually happening? Like, can we prove this? Why aren't the authorities doing something about it and everything? How far can you take it? Like, that's where you have to test the power of your control. And, at some point, you're going to come to that final decision is that you're going to take the next step to either, if you've proven that this child is in fact in danger, you're going to save that child, or if you've proven that that child is in fact not in danger, then you have to release this energy and maybe find out what is actually causing this other thing around you. So this is one of those things where it's like, victim mentality isn't about taking blame or taking fault for trauma, especially if it's happening to somebody else, like feeling like, what can I do to help that person? That's not your responsibility. But to choose a path of righteousness in this instance to help somebody, that might be a part of your power and control. But how far can you take it? That's the question.